Okay, so now we're going to talk about factoring out the greatest common factor. The first step of factoring out a greatest common factor is to first find the greatest common factor. So let's start off with our first term, negative 12x cubed. And so that's going to break up into negative 1 because there's a negative there, times, I know that 12 is equal to 4 times 3, and 4 is equal to 2 times 2. So we're going to say 2 times 2 times 3, because that's 4 times 3. And then 3 x's. So 1, 2, 3. Now for my next term, 18x squared. I don't have a negative this time, so I'm not going to pull one out. I know that 18x squared is equal to 2 times 9. So I'm going to say 2 times, and instead of 9, I know 3 times 3 gives me 9. So 3 times 3, and then 2 x's. So x times x. And then my last term is negative 27x. And so I do have a negative there, so I'm going to pull it out. And then 27 is equal to 3 times 9. So I'll have 3. And then 9 is 3 times 3, so 3 times another 3, and then 1x. Okay, so now let's figure out what do they all have in common. I see that negative 12 and 18, they both have a 2, but the 27 does not have a 2. They also don't all have a negative 1. So the first thing I see that they have in common is a 3. So I'll go through and I'll circle all those 3's. Okay, that's it. That's all as far as numbers go that I see that they have in common. The next thing is we're going to look at x's. So I see all of them have an x here. So I circled that. So our GCF is 3x. Okay, so now to factor it out, we're going to write our answer as 2 factors. We're going to write 3x, our GCF, out in the front, and then parentheses. And then whatever is left over that has not been circled in black. So, and we're just going to multiply them together. So I see negative 1 times 2 times 2. That gives me negative 4 and then 2 x's, so x squared. So this becomes negative 4x squared. Then what's left in blue that's not circled? 2 times 3 is 6 times an x, that gives me 6x. That's a positive, so I'll write plus 6x. And then what's left in green that was not circled is negative 1 times 3 times 3, so that's a negative 9. And there is no x left that's not circled, so minus 9. Now, if I wanted to check my answer, all I need to do now is distribute and add the exponents like we did in last week's notes. So let's check our answer. If I were to check, I would do 3x times negative 4x squared, so that gives me negative 12x cubed. Then 3x times 6x, that gives me 18x squared. And then 3x times negative 9 gives me negative 27x. And that's what we started with. So that's a good news because that means this right here is my correct answer.